Yo, what's up? My name is Sinister Skater. Welcome to the channel. We're back with a best to worst revised for Season 4 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where we'll be revisiting my best to worst list for every single one of the weapons classes and updating them to include the new guns added to the game, and I'll also be taking into account the weapon balancing done since the Season 3 revision nearly 2 months ago. And let me tell you, there's been quite the amounts of buffs and nerfs and some major meta changes in some weapon classes. For example, let's start with the assault rifles. On the screen is the Season 3 revised best to worst rankings, and just a reminder, for the revised episodes we're using a tier system rather than ranking each gun individually like in the initial episodes, and I will be referring to the original episodes rather than going over every single weapon over and over again just to save some time. So if you're itching for more info by the end of this video and haven't seen those yet, I highly suggest checking them out. But believe it or not, for Season 4, I don't think the M4A1 is the best gun in the game currently. I'm giving the title of the best assault rifle to the brand new FAL. If you haven't tried out the FAL since the 1.23 update, you need to give it a shot. Just try it. I'm telling you, the FAL has always been a statistically good weapon with one of the faster time to kills in the game, but it wasn't popular or easy to use because it is a semi-auto weapon. But now, this thing can one-shot kill, which is insane. I misinterpreted the 1.23 patch notes thinking that this one-shot kill was just for the stopping power rounds, but no. They added an additional range profile at close range that allows you to one-shot kill to the head before it took 2 shots to kill. This, on top of the aim down sights buff it got and its low recoil, makes the FAL an absolute monster and possibly overpowered. It puts the SKS or the Dragunov or the EBR completely out of commission unless you want a further one-shot kill range. I mean, that's what made those weapons very appealing in the first place. And outside of multiplayer, in Warzone, the FAL takes a maximum of 5 shots to kill. It only takes 2 shots to kill at close range. I mean, it absolutely deletes people. You need to try it out. You're seeing the gameplay on the screen right now. The FAL is OP, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it in the future. As for the remaining AR rankings, it's pretty much the same except for the new CR56 AMAX debuting at tier 3 with the Odin and the AK-47 dropping a tier. I did an entire video going over the CR56 AMAX. It boils down to being a better AK-47 all around except for at the longest ranges. The other ARs are in the same exact spot as last season because they haven't seen much change. The Grau did receive a nerf to its range and recoil. The nerfs did make the weapon harder to use at range, which is relevant in Warzone, but it's still a good gun when it comes to Warzone. I mean, overall, outside of Warzone, it's still what would now be a mediocre weapon, and that's pretty much it for the assault rifles. Next up, we have the Marksman rifles, which is the same rankings as the Season 3 revision, with the SKS being at best. But I did want to bump up the Kar98K to tier 2 with the EBR-14. I still believe the EBR is technically better, but I do want to show the Kar some respect because of the buffs it received. It has an even faster quickscope, and you don't get as many hit markers with it, unlike the Mark II carbine, which also received a movement speed buff and a range buff to help it some, but I'm still going to be keeping that under the crossbow for the lols because I hate that gun with a passion. Similar story with the sniper rifles, but this time I've condensed them into 2 tiers, with the semi-autos on top, that being the Dragunov and the new Rytec, and then the HDR and AX50 at tier 2. Honestly, all these snipers are viable, but I personally like these semi-autos for the same reasons I've mentioned before. The Dragunov is still king when it comes to rapid-fire one-shot headshot kills, and it received an ADS buff and a RPM buff to pump out shots even quicker. And the Rytec is the new sniper rifle that has the same powerful damage as the HDR. It can one-shot pretty much everywhere except the limbs, but it has a faster fire rate than the HDR. Plus, it's a utility weapon when you put on the ammo conversions. I did nearly a 20-minute long video going over the Rytec. There's nothing more I can really add than what was already said in that video because I put days of work into that video. It literally has everything you could possibly want to know about the Rytec. And as for the bolt actions, I still prefer the HDR. The recent update made it so that it can one-shot anywhere as long as you're not shooting limbs, similar to the Rytec, which makes it very consistent. But at the same time, the X50 received a a range buff to make it more consistent. And when you consider Warzone, the two weapons are the same. Some players may prefer the X50 more for its faster handling, which is why I decided to just put them at the same tier. But again, overall, all these snipers are pretty viable. As for best male grooming products, there's really only one contender we're considering, and that is Manscaped with their Lawnmower 3.0. The new Lawnmower 3.0 features advanced skin-safe technology so you don't nick your balls. I mean, really, that's all I have to say. It also features a 7,000 RPM motor, rechargeable lithium-ion battery for up to 90 minutes of battery life, built-in LED light to help with more precise trimming, and it's waterproof. And this thing gets even better when you fully kit it out with the Perfect Package 3.0, which includes the Lawnmower 3.0, Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Magic Shave Mats, Manscaped Boxers, and the Shed Travel Bag. You can go to manscaped.com and use code SYNY, that's SYNY, to save 20% off and get free shipping on any order. Moving on to the SMGs, we have the same rankings as Season 3 with the addition of the Fennec at Tier 2 alongside the MP7. The MP5 is still king even though it did receive a nerf. All I had to do was adjust my loadout with another recoil attachment, and honestly it felt just as good as it did before, even at the longer ranges, which is a big reason why the MP5 is the best SMG, and it feels so great because it's great at every single range. It has great handling, all that good stuff. The Fennec has an insane time to kill. It shreds people when your shots connect, but I don't want to say it's held back, but it has slower handling. You can't be as hyper aggressive with it like the MP7, but it's still a very good weapon when you play with it appropriately. If you'd like to know more about the Fennec, I'll refer you to my army analysis I did on it just to save some time. Let's move on to the LMGs, which I don't really have much to add to the LMG list. It's the same as Season 3, but I did want to solidify the Bruin Mark 9 as the best LMG instead of sharing the glory with the PKM and the SA87. I've had much more playtime with the Bruin, being that it's the only LMG I've used since it was released, and I just don't see a reason to use any other LMG in this game currently. It's amazing for all the reasons I stated in the Season 3 best to worst and in my armory analysis video for the Bruin, and I think people have finally begun to catch on to just how good the Bruin really is. Let's move on to the shotguns, which is, again, the same list. We got the R90 at best, the VLK and the model at Tier 2, and then the Origin and the 725. I do want to highlight, though, that the VLK Rogue got some major buffs to its damage, the fire rate, and its handling, and it got Dragon's Breath rounds on top of that, which helped with the damage even more. You now get further and more consistent one-shot kills, but I don't think it got buffed enough to put it in its own tier above the model. I also want to note that shotgun slug rounds got buffed across the board, and if you recall my VLK review video, the slug rounds are really good on this weapon, and now they are even better. As for handguns, again, same list here, literally no change since Season 3. .50 GS is still your king. I think the dual burst Renetti's got nerfed some since the last revision video, but it's still viable, and the pistol itself is still really good, so no changes there. And that brings us to the final classes here. We have the launchers and the melees, which, again, nothing has changed here except for the addition of the Cali sticks. And I guess technically the Cali sticks get a good honorable mention the way I was ranking these previously, but the Cali sticks are my new preference of melee weapon, and I think the new best weapon in this category. You run faster with the Cali sticks, they have a longer lunge range, and as long as you connect your first hit, you're going to be getting that second follow-up hit rapidly for the kill 90% of the time. I went over all that and more in a separate video, but when it comes down to it, I think the Cali sticks are more viable and provide more utility than the combat knife, which is one of the best secondaries you can have in this game. So there you have it, my best to worst list revised for Season 3. Let me know what you guys think of any of the weapon classes we went over, whether you agree or disagree with them. Not too many drastic changes to the list in regards to like swapping guns here and there, but there are some new weapons, some new buffs that just are good. I mean, we just spent however many minutes talking about it. So if you guys did enjoy the video, consider tapping that like button before you leave, and consider subscribing because we're always talking about Call of Duty on this channel. Check the links down below in the description if you'd like to help support my channel. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. My name is Sinister Skater, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace out.